Hello once again, Hurricane fans. Thank you for following us here this afternoon on either YouTube station, GSW Athletics, or perhaps even through the GSW website, gswcanes.com. We're joined this afternoon by the head baseball coach, Bryan McLain. The Hurricanes are coming off a 1-2 weekend, but some well-played ball against the 16th ranked team in the country from Barry University down near Miami. The two losses coming by a combined 2 runs. So the Hurricanes, I'm sure would like to have those W's, but in the end, I'm sure there was some positive that could be taken away as they played well against Barry once again. Ranked 16th, but as high as 5th in the country in a couple of the polls, depending which one you're looking at. So, Coach McLain, just some quick thoughts and a quick look back on this past weekend and how you thought things went out there on the field.
Yeah, you're right, Keith. Obviously, we're disappointed that we didn't get those 2 wins. But overall, pleased with our team's performance, and a lot of good things to be excited about. Some areas that we can get better, some areas for improvement, if you will. But overall, a really good feeling coming out of the first weekend of where we are and where we're headed.
Sure, and the Hurricanes played well. In fact, the 2 games where we lost, we did have the lead. Unfortunately, Barry rallied late in both of those games, and then in between there we had a real dominant performance, a 7-0 victory for the Hurricanes, where starting pitcher Matt Weaver was a 7-inning game, second game of a doubleheader, went 6 1/3 and gave up just 1 hit, and that hit coming to start off the 7th inning. That hit coming to start off the 7th inning. So just a tremendous performance by Matt, but he wasn't alone. He had a lot of several pitchers as we go down the roster coming out of this weekend with 0 ERAs, and it wasn't just because they threw to 1 or 2 batters. They had a significant amount of innings pitched, so I would imagine you're pretty pleased at that.
Absolutely. Our pitchers did outstanding this weekend. Trent Franzaga started us off, and I can't remember if it was 5 or 6 innings that he threw of shutout baseball. Actually came out of the game with a 2-0 lead. Matt Weaver. You throw 1 hit against a team like Barry University, you're doing some things right. Frank Ambrosino got off to a little bit of a shaky start his first outing for us, but we were able to get Matt Suggs in, who shut it down from there and gave us an opportunity to get back in that game. We were actually down 4-0 at one time in that game, and we were able to get our offense going and get back in that game and tie it up and actually go ahead 5-4 late. And Matthew was a big part of that, shutting their offense down and giving us those opportunities. So we're extremely excited about our pitching staff, and we've been that way, back even during the fall and through our preseason. We felt like that was going to be one of the areas of our team that we were going to count on, and they were going to be able to respond and do a great job. And the other guys that threw, no major problems or anything. We just kind of lost command of the strike zone, and when you do that against good teams, they take advantage of it. And to Barry's credit, they did it, and that was kind of the difference in the games we lost. But we're extremely excited about our pitching staff.
Absolutely, and you mentioned Frank, and he's just a list of a number of newcomers to the Hurricanes this year. Of course, you're going to go through that every year. You're going to lose a handful and pick up some new faces, but I'm just touching on a few, but I'd like you to expand on that further. But you have, Frank was a starter in game 3 of the series. Randall Sheffield came to us from West Florida. He was a starter, tremendous from the plate, finished .429 with a .429 average for the weekend. So outstanding job at the plate by Randall Sheffield. Michael Coffey, not a returner, but an All-Peach Belt, or excuse me, not a newcomer, but an All-Peach Belt Conference returner. He hit .400 as well for the weekend. But then you also, in your starting lineup, getting back to those that are new, you had Blaine Parker at the top of the lineup, who hit the home run that put us up 5-4 in that final game of the series. So in addition to those guys, Coach, how did you feel? This is kind of, you've had fall practice, but now to see the newcomers out there on the field, what can you take away from that? And who didn't we see that we will be seeing?
Well, going through fall practice and trying to get to know everybody, you really don't know until you get out and have a chance to play some other competition, and we did that a little bit with some fall games, and were able to see some things that we liked, and felt like the guys were going to fit in and do a great job for us. The guys that you mentioned, Randall Sheffield's a little bit different. He came in at the start of this semester. He was actually at West Florida, had gone through Tommy John arm surgery, and had been redshirted last year, and for whatever reason, it just wasn't going to work out there, and he decided, and along with his coach down there, to maybe heading to another school was the best option for him, and looks like it was a good thing for us because he really had a great weekend, did some good things. He adds an element of speed for us, and he's also got some pop in his bat. So we're excited to have him in our lineup. Blaine Parker is a guy from Gordon College that transferred in. We kind of picked him up late. Thought he was just going to be a guy that we kind of use as a utility infielder. We've had some things happen over the course of the fall, and he's gotten an opportunity to step in and play every day, and he's I tell you, he's taken it and run with it and doing a tremendous job for us, and has really solidified our leadoff spot, which was a question that we had for this year, was who we were going to put in that leadoff spot, and because we kind of struggled with that a little bit last year, and he's done a good job with that, been kind of a stabilizing factor for us, and had that tremendous home run to put us ahead 5-4. We all thought that it was game over then, but it didn't turn out that way. So, yeah, we've got a great class that's come in. Our coaching staff, Coach Tracy, has done a tremendous job, and getting out and recruiting these kids, and guys are buying into what we're doing and asking them to do, and I don't know if I've had a team that's ever worked any harder than this group has, and it's fun to be around them. It's fun to get out and go to practice, and that's where all the high expectations come from.
All right, Coach, and I had mentioned, Michael Coffey. We had talked about the newcomers, and now I had mentioned Michael's good weekend over at the plate over the weekend, an All-PBC award winner last year. He's not alone. Corey Benson also returning an All-PBC selection. You've got John Duran, Bo Parker, a good chunk of your starting lineup returning. Any thoughts on the returners as far as what you're
Absolutely. We've got some outstanding players in our program right now. And then as those guys you mentioned, Michael Coffey playing. He actually came in as a catcher, moved into the outfield, and just picked up and took off. And he's just an outstanding player. Corey Benson, had a really good year last year. DH spots, getting an opportunity to play in right field. Actually threw a guy out in one of our games this weekend from the outfield. John Duran, I think, is just one of those guys where he's kind of the linchpin to our defense. He's just a solid player. Makes all the routine plays, and then he's going to also make some spectacular plays for you at shortstop. And so we were real excited about what we had returning. And putting together with this recruiting class that we've brought in, and it's a big time here, and we're excited about it, and look for things to continue on like it's going, and see how it turns out.
Yeah. And John did stay busy at short, as the Berry like to apparently try to attack that part of the defense where he had just 10 assists alone in the first two games and came away clean, picked them all clean. So that was good. And then, of course, you have the senior leadership on the other side with the pitchers as well, and Gray and Cameron coming out there. So lots of good things, and it seems like a really good balance of you're happy with the newcomers that come in, and you have just solid guys returning. So.
Yeah, I think this might be the most, I guess you might say, complete team that I've had since I've been here as the head coach. We've obviously had teams that were maybe a little better offensively or a little better pitching, a little better defense or whatever, but I think this group is really kind of molded together and gelled, and I think is top to bottom. I think it might be as good as any team we've had here so far. But we got lots of season left, lots of games to play, and I tell you, it was a great environment out there this past weekend, Keith. The fans showed up. I mean, it's just tremendous crowds all 3 games. And that's just a fun environment for our guys to play in. And, and I think we put a product out there on the field that hopefully people are going to want to come back and see it again, and we can continue to have this thing grow. And it's just a tremendous feeling when you get that kind of support from the community. And I know it makes these guys feel good and feel appreciated, and want to go out there and play as hard as they can.
Yeah, absolutely. And Coach, you're right. It was 2 great crowds, well over 200 in the opener, pushing 200 in game 2. And for fans that haven't had a chance to catch these guys, I understand that the season is young, but Mother Nature has been gracious so far. We hope for more of the warm weather. But Saturdays, those guys are firing up the grill. It gives it a real good ballpark feel. You could get some good eats from the concession stand as those guys fire the grill up on Saturdays. And then Sunday's a big family day with the America's Sumter Chamber of Commerce doing their Sundays on Sunday, which they've done all season long at all of our sporting events. The ice cream went over well, and then the kids get to run the bases after the game. So it really makes for a good family atmosphere out there as well. And obviously, I think the fans that came on this past weekend saw great baseball, and they had a good time. So, and speaking of which, though, unfortunately, we won't get to see the Hurricanes for a little while. The Hurricanes hit the road for the next 2 weekends. West Alabama this weekend, and then conference play already with UNC Pembroke. I'm sure they'll love that trip up to that long trek up to Lumberton and UNC Pembroke. So they're up there for the next 2 weekends. Hurricanes are actually back home on February 21st. It's a midweek game against Thomas from just down the road in Thomasville, Georgia, Thomas University. A trip to Albany State, and then back here the weekend of the 25th, 26th, the Peach Belt Conference play against Flagler. Coach, just looking ahead, first road trips of the year. Any thoughts, West Alabama and then conference play?
Yeah, well, West Alabama traditionally a solid Division II program. They play in the Gulf South Conference, and we've played them now for I guess about 3-4 years now, and solid program. It's going to be a big test for us. Go back over there on the road. And play those guys. Well coached, always have good talent. So it's going to be interesting to see how our guys respond from this past weekend to go on the road and put things out on the field in a strange environment, if you will. But we're confident. I'm confident in these guys, and they're confident in themselves. And and then the following weekend we open up conference play. It's the first time since we've been in the league that we've opened up this early. Yeah. I'm hopeful that Mother Nature, as you pointed out, being so good this past weekend, is going to be good when we go to North Carolina to us, and we don't have snow on the ground or something like that. But Pembroke actually won the conference tournament last year, and from what I understand, he's got a really good team coming back. They have some returners back off of that team, and so, I mean, it really doesn't matter who you play in this league. You better be ready to play, or it's not going to be a very fun weekend. So, we're excited about going and putting our talent on the road and see what happens. And then we'll be back here and do it all again then. So, it's going to be an exciting season.
Sounds good. Well, best of luck, Coach. We'll see you back here in a couple of weeks. And again, you can always follow the Hurricanes online, even if you can't make the trip on a road trip, or you can't even make it to Americus. If you can follow us online at gswcanes.com. Live stats. Matt does a great job of sending out tweets when we can, and for most games we're right there tracking all the action as well. So on Twitter or Facebook, you name it, we're there. But our home base, of course, gswcanes.com is kind of the hub for it all. So. Thanks again for the time, Coach. We'll do this again when you guys get back, and best of luck to you.
Thanks a lot, Keith.